welcome to my channel. I am getting ready for bed, but for tomorrow I want to make this bread and it needs 12 hours to rise. So I figured I'd make it right before I go to bed, and then by the time I wake up in the morning, it should be almost ready to bake. So let's get started. First off, I have 3 cups of flour already in my bowl, measured out. This is going to be a double chocolate, so it's going to be chocolate with the cocoa powder and then also some mini chocolate chips. And then I'm also gonna add some dried cranberries in, so this should be delicious. I'm very excited for this. It's more of a dessert bread, which I haven't really made. I've mostly made savory bread, so. We're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, just like so. And then we're gonna whisk that together, as well as all of my cranberries. These are dried cranberries. Some chocolate chips. It's a little less than a 1/2 cup of both. And then I need 2 teaspoons of salt. It'd be better if I had kosher, but I do not have any of that. So I'm just gonna use some regular. Okay, we're gonna get that all whisked together too. Okay, awesome. This is gonna be a no-knead bread, so it should be pretty easy to do. For the yeast, I am going to do 2 teaspoons of sugar into warm water. It needs to be between about 105 to 115. It was right above 105, so I'm just gonna stir in that. Get some of the sugars dissolving in there. This is gonna get our yeast very active. And it's not a very yeasty bread. We don't need that much. We're only gonna use a 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. So I'm going to add that in. Get that all stirred together. My cats are going crazy in the living room. Okay, and I'm just gonna let this go for about 10 minutes until it gets a little foamy. Okay, this has started to become foamy, so I'm just going to pour it in. We're gonna make sure to scrape down everything. Okay, and then we're just going to mix this all together until it makes a wet dough. This is a no-knead bread, so it's going to be fairly liquidy once it all comes together. But it'll be easier too because it's, of course, no-knead. So we're gonna make sure all of the elements become well combined. Kind of using a folding motion to get everything mixed together. You wanna make sure you're not seeing any more of the flour. Okay, and this is looking fantastic. This is what we're working with. So it is time now to place some plastic wrap on top. Ugh, need to get a new plastic wrap, one that tears better. This container thing does not like to tear very evenly. Okay, and now we're going to put it to bed for 12 hours. You're gonna want to put this in a warmer area with no draft. So tonight I'm going to be putting it in my oven because there's no draft there. It'll keep my kitties away from it, and it is a great environment for it to rest. And I will check back in with you when it is time to do the next steps. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It is the next day and it has been over 12 hours since we put in our bread, so it should be ready to go. So let's go check on it. Oh yeah, it's definitely doubled in size, so that's a good sign. Looking something like that. I'll take off the plastic wrap in a second, but in the meantime, we need to get our oven preheated as well as our Dutch oven. So first off, I'm gonna put my Dutch oven with the lid on into my oven. And then we're gonna preheat it to 450 degrees. And we want the Dutch oven to be preheating for at least a 1/2 hour, which is perfect because we need a little bit of time for this to get a second rise in. So first, let's take off this plastic wrap. Did stick a little to the top, but that's okay. We're going to flour our freshly washed island. Let's make sure everything is nice and clean. I'm just gonna put flour down like so. We're gonna spread that out a little bit. And remember, this is a no-knead dough. So we're not gonna knead this per se. We're just gonna do a couple of stretch and folds and form it into our ball. So first off, we need to get it on there. So I'm just going around, scraping down the sides to get all of that delicious bread onto the flour. It does smell very chocolatey right now, so that is awesome. Just like so. Okay, and we want this to make a nice dough ball. So what I'm gonna do is stretch and fold, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, and stretch and fold. And we're going to make this into a nice ball, like so. And then I'm gonna put it onto some parchment paper. And we are going to place it in a clean bowl for the time it takes for our oven to preheat and for the Dutch oven to preheat for a half hour. So I will check back in with you then. I need to wash my hands. Okay, the Dutch oven has had enough time to preheat, so we are going to be taking it out of the oven. And then we're gonna take off our lid. I wanna make sure you're being very careful. It is very hot. And our bread has had a little more time to rise, and I also scored it, so it is all ready to go in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my parchment paper and grab all four corners. And we're just gonna pick it up and lightly place it into our Dutch oven, just like so. And then we are going to put the lid back on. Open up our oven. Ooh, it's warm. And place that in there. Okay, and it's gonna go in there for a half an hour, and then after a half hour, I'm gonna come over and take the lid off, and it's gonna be taken off for about another 10 more minutes, so we get a nice crust on the outside. So I will see you then. Okay, it has been 30 minutes, so it is time to remove the lid from our Dutch oven to get our bread nice and crispy. So I'm just gonna reach in, pull this out, take the lid off. Oh, that is looking wonderful. Okay, let's let it crisp up a little bit. So we're gonna push it back in. That's gonna take anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm just gonna keep my eye on it to make sure that it is getting to the right doneness. See you then. Okay, it has been 10 minutes, so it is time to take the bread out of the oven. Oh, it is warm in there. Jeez. Oh, this is looking fantastic. We're gonna turn off the oven, and then we're going to get this out in cooling off. And we are going to try and get this out of here nicely. Grab this, and we're gonna slide it off. And there we have it. Let's see. Oh yeah, that has a nice crust on the outside. So now we just need to let it cool completely, and then we're gonna give it a try. We don't want to cut into it too soon, so it will probably take a little bit of time to get there, but I'm very excited to test it out. Okay, it is time to give this a taste test. I am obviously ready for the day and ready to taste this out. So here's the bread. Oh, it is looking so good. Look at that, it looks gorgeous. You can see the little spots of the dried cranberries and also the chocolate chips. It smells incredible too, and I don't know if you can hear this, but it has a very nice crunch on the outside, so I am very excited to give this a taste test. We are going to cut this open. Ooh, it has a beautiful crumb to it, but I always like to try the second piece in and not the butt, so we're gonna cut that up. This is looking to have a wonderful texture, and look at that. So you can really see the crumb on it. It looks so good. And I got a little bit of butter to put on it. Okay, let's give this a try. This has a wonderful flavor. The cocoa really comes through, and then you get a nice sweetness from both the chocolate chips that really punch up the chocolate flavor, and then also the dried cranberries also add a very nice sweetness, but also adds like a slight tartness to it, which is really enjoyable. I'm very happy with how this turned out. It would be great toasted just in the mornings. It's not incredibly sweet, so even adding like a little bit drizzle of honey on top would be really good. Or even hot honey. I do have hot honey. Let me try a little bit of that. I bet that's gonna be really good too. Give it a slight heat with the sweetness. Let's see. Yeah, that's really nice too. So however you wanna doctor it up, it will be delicious. So I'm very happy with how this all turned out. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.